Security program on spreadsheets, new regulations piling up, and audit dread? It's time for Vanta. Vanta automates security and compliance, brings evidence into one place, and cuts audit prep by 82%. Less manual work, clearer visibility, faster deals, zero chaos. Call it compliance, or call it compliance. Get it? Join the 15,000 companies using Vanta to prove trust. Go to vanta.com/calm.
Justin.
Yeah, what's up?
I just had the good fortune of picking up Podcast Magazine because you gave it to me, because you saw something. You never guessed what I saw.
Whoa, what'd you find?
I found out that they said that we are actually one of the top podcasts to listen to while in quarantine. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yeah.
Us. Okay.
Us. Like of all, like anything you could listen to, we were chosen.
Well, how high on the list were we?
I think you told me that we were number 12.
That's right. We were number 12. Let's not say we're the top. We're number 12. We're right in the middle of it.
Okay. So we're almost in the top 10. But which is funny because I don't think my wife wants to hear me for as long as she's heard me in quarantine. So I think
the best part is we share in the cover. We have Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street, on the cover of that issue, and we're right in there in the quarantine article.
That's pretty cool. I don't know what that says in the grand scheme of things, but I'm proud. I'm a proud podcaster now, and you should be too, man. But while I've been in quarantine, I've been thinking about how to make some of that internet money. And
I like internet money.
You like internet money? I like internet money. And one of the concepts that has always, I thought was really great is this idea of putting content together and then selling it as like an e-learning thing. And it's such a good idea that every time I think about doing it, I feel like I'm making money.
That's good. I mean, at least you're putting the thoughts out there, and thoughts are things according to The Secret. So yeah, roll with that.
That's true. That's true. And but I'm kind of stuck because I think I need to talk to someone who knows what they're doing, because just like being a podcast host, I don't know what I'm doing at all. So
you got to start somewhere.
Can you help me? Can you help me with that?
I think we can. I think we have someone for you today, because this we got someone that's going to be able to help you out. Let's
go on.
Our guest today, which I'm going to introduce in a second, is going to be able to talk about e-learning platforms because he started one himself. Plus, he's a best-selling author with multiple well-known books that you've probably heard of if you're into marketing. So he got some exciting stuff coming up.
Man, I can't wait to hear it. How do I listen to this great podcast?
Well, first, we got to introduce ourselves. So I'm Justin Womack.
And I'm Andros Sturgeon, and we are the Marketing Geeks.
Marketing Geeks.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
All right, so our guest, it turns out, is a best-selling author, has developed a learning platform called learn.com, L-U-R-N, which is, that is a great name. And also a speaker and all around.
Let me give some extra accolades here. So he's
please.
He's an Inc500 CEO. He's listed twice among the fastest growing companies in America. He's the founder of Learn.com, as Andros just mentioned. He's been recognized as a top 3 entrepreneur and the best U.S. entrepreneurs under 25. He's sold over $250 million worth of products online, all using a simple 5-step psychological formula, which I'm going to have to ask about. And he's trained over 250,000 students around the world to do the same, written multiple best-selling books, spoken on stages for Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, and he's a consultant to legends like Daymond John and Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad author, as well as, so he wrote Escape, The Email Lifeline, The Circle of Profit, Passion to Profit. You've probably heard of these books. You've probably seen them on Amazon. The best-selling author, Anik Singal, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thank you very much. I got that on recording now, so every morning.
So do we. We're gonna take this recording, and we're going to, after the show is over, we're gonna put it in our studio and erase it. So it's all good. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Learn and give us kind of the rundown.
Yeah, sure. So listen, real quick story about myself. I was never meant to be an entrepreneur. I'm a genetic fluke in my family. And, I'm Indian. So I don't know the last time either of you was at the hospital, but go next time and look around. What do we become? Indians become doctors. That's what we are. And growing up, I knew one thing. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be financially very well off. I wanted to have every luxury in the world.
You should have been a doctor.
What's that?
You should have been a doctor.
I know, right? So I would look around my family, and so very simple connection. As a kid, you can have a very simple mind. So look around, who's got the nicest cars, biggest houses, most respect in the community? Doctors. And so as a kid, I thought I would be a doctor. I remember once I told my parents I want to be a doctor, and they were glowing in pride and so excited. I was like, oh, yay, I'll be a doctor. So all the way through high school, I work hard. I've never been the smartest in a room ever, but I'm always the hardest working. I'll hustle anybody in a room. And so here I am doing all of this and, working hard. And I have a straight A, super awesome resume in high school because I got to get into the right college to become a great doctor. And funny enough, the only class that I nearly failed in high school was my writing class, which is going to be very ironic as we get into my story later. I go to college. I get into one of the best programs in the world. I'm actually freshman year pre-med. So I still have a long way to go. I'm already being recruited by Harvard Medical School. I'm set, full scholarship, everything. The program I got into, only 60 people around the world get into. So it was, it worked. I was on plan worked, awesome. Life is set, going to be great. My parents are bragging about me. Everyone's super happy. But a week into first year of college, so this is very early freshman year, my eyes opened. It's actually more like 2 weeks. And I could not move. I literally had the fear of the world come over me. I was petrified. And I remember thinking, I can't go to this class. One more biology class, I'm going to kill myself. And the worst part of it was I thought, holy moly, I signed up to do this for the rest of my life. I'm only 2 weeks into Bio 101.
So a couple of questions real quick. So do you how traditional is your family?
Not very traditional, to be honest.
Okay.
My parents are awesome. So it's just, to be... here's the thing. You don't have to be very traditional Indian to know that you're supposed to be a doctor.
Right. Well, and that's just it, because culturally there's sometimes a lot of pressure on children to, really perform. Did you feel that at all with your parents? Was there kind of this expectation? Yeah. Really?
Yeah. So my dad, he's awesome. I love my dad. He is my best friend. He is my role model. He is my hero. I will never, ever have anything bad to say about him, but he was tough. So to give you an idea, I was studying for the SATs in 6th grade. Ooh. I took my first SAT in 7th grade.
Wow. I took it, I didn't study till the week before for the SAT, and which was not smart, by the way. I don't know why. My parents just didn't even put it on my radar. But it just totally different. What I wanted to ask is when you make this, or I guess you could finish your story here, but I want to hear when you made the actual decision to back out of this med school, which I imagine you did, because I don't think you finished, how the parental reaction was to that. I imagine that would have been pretty negative, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, and also, was there an inciting incident? Was there one particular thing, or was it just you just got overcame with fear, as you were saying? But what was the exact moment that you were like, nope? And then what was the reaction of your parents?
Yeah, so there wasn't an exact moment. I think what happened is, first of all, I have a health condition called Crohn's disease, and right before college started, about a month before that, it went out of control and I needed to get surgeries. I was sick. So going into college, I was already kind of not feeling well. And I was in a very, very intense program. I mean, the program that only 60 people in the world get into. You can imagine the types of people I'm with. They're very brilliant, very smart. It takes a lot of work to keep up. And so I think it was piece by piece. And then it was just generally the classes were boring. I had a little bit of hint and dint here and there with entrepreneurship growing up. It was, I was just trying to question everything that was being told around me. And I shared this with very few friends. I did not share it with a lot of people because of the very thing that you said. I was petrified of what my parents would do. And I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want to disappoint everybody. And I also felt guilty. Here I am sitting in the perfect situation. Literally, I have the perfect scenario. I'm set for life. If I just do as I'm told now, I will be a highly compensated doctor from probably an Ivy League university. I got it. I'm good. How the heck why am I miserable? How do I have a right to be miserable? And so a lot of this played on my head. There's probably 3 or 4 friends that I even opened up to and shared with. But you know what? All of freshman year of college, I just dealt with it and I got through it. And then I ended up missing a semester of freshman college. I got so sick. Then I spent all summer catching up on classes. I mean, I was just working like a dog. Can you imagine working like a dog on a subject and on things you hate? I mean, it's true definition of misery.
Yeah.
And so I start sophomore year, exact same thing happens again. I fall really sick again. I end up missing the first semester. I'm in tons of classes I don't want to take. And there's one moment. And so this is when it comes to my parents. And I'm sitting in the library and my study buddy, my study partner, she walks in. She's probably one of like the sweetest people I've ever met in my life at that point. She's a very nice person. She walks in, sit down across the table from me in the library. I'm not paying attention to her or whatever. I'm just reading my book or my textbook. She gets up, takes a big sigh, takes my book, slams it shut, shoves it in my book bag, throws my book bag at me and says, "Enough. Go talk to your parents now." And I'm like looking at her like, what? I have no idea what led to that. I asked her once and she just basically told me like I would look miserable. She was tired of seeing me miserable. And she looks at me. She's like, "Get in your car right now." I lived about 45 minutes from my house. She's like, "Get in your car right now. Drive home. Call your parents. Go talk to them. Get rid of this. Be done with it. This isn't for you." And I was like, wow. And something about her eyes and her voice made me get up. And literally I called my parents. I said, "I'm coming home. Can I talk to you?"
Wow.
I said, "Sure." And I went home. Oh man, I was shaking. And I told my parents and they both just looked at me and said, "We're with you. We support you no matter what. You're our son. Be happy. Go for it." And I'm like, "What?" And my dad's like, "Look, for the record, I think you're crazy and I don't agree with your decision, but of course I'll support you. Do what you got to do." And that was it. I'm like, what the,
Wow.
Yeah, they're the best parents ever. Like seriously, and they meant it. Now, the funny joke I have with them is when we go to parties now, right, like family dinners and stuff, and people are like, "Oh my God, Anik, he's such a great entrepreneur. He's so successful. Congratulations." My dad would be like, "I don't know what he was messing around with that medical stuff. I told him that he should be an entrepreneur." And I'm like, "All right, I'll give that one to you, Dad. You were awesome, but I'm not so sure about that."
Yeah, I think it's funny how we can like build these things up in our head, that there's going to be this horrible confrontation with our parents or with whoever, like the person is in our lives that we think we have to have this special conversation with to make a big change. Because I've experienced this in my own life too. And usually when that conversation finally does happen, and I've heard from in my own life and other people's lives that I've heard stories from, it's way less impactful than we thought it was going to be, or it's way less of a big deal than we thought it was going to be. And I think it's really cool that somebody actually intervened on you and inspired you to actually go make that shift, because without that, who knows, maybe you're a miserable doctor, right now, especially if you were in the medical field, you'd be working in the hospitals with a lot of stressful situations going on.
Viral load.
Yeah, viral load. It would have been nuts.
Yeah, because as we record this right now, America is in the apex of the Corona experience. So all's well that ends well. So you did now when you told your parents and you were like, "This isn't for me," did you have any kind of plan of what you wanted to do beyond that? Or were you just kind of like, "I know this is no, I have to go to Ecuador and drink ayahuasca and have a spiritual experience and open my mind to what's coming"? Or were you just like, "Oh no, I'm just going to do this"? Like what happened?
Sure. So first of all, no, it definitely wasn't my personality to be like, "Hey, I'm just going to like go hang out now and be rad and go figure something out." So during this time that I was in pre-med school, I had joined a company called World Financial Group. And I don't know what led me to joining it, but it was basically multi-level marketing, financial planning. And so, you build a team under you, but then you go out and you help people with their financial planning. It was really weird, and I was really damn good at it. Not the building a team part, but I was really good at getting clients. I had like $16 million under management at that point.
So were you selling like life insurance then and like those kind of policies?
Yeah, life insurance, annuities, mutual funds, retirement planning, and stuff like that. Can you imagine like 18, 19-year-olds kind of broke on himself, but like helping other people with their millions of dollars. And I was doing pretty well actually, because in those days markets were doing really good. You could pretty much throw your money anywhere. And
what year was this?
Oh man, 2001, 2002. So, basically maybe 2002, 2003. I don't remember, but it was going pretty well. And so I took away from that I love business. That was my takeaway. And I love financial planning, so my plan was I wanted to switch to business school and go get a degree in finance. And that I would do financial planning because I had like series exams passed. I was certified. It was pretty interesting thing for a freshman, sophomore in college to have. And here's where it gets funny. So that was my plan. I told my parents I wanted to do that. I didn't know what university I would go to, but I knew I'd lose my full scholarship because no one gives full scholarships halfway through university. I'd have to take a ton more classes to catch up. And so that was on me. I never would have thought I won't go to college. That is probably where my dad would have put his foot down and said, not happening. But I start applying to other universities, and there's a really cool story about how I actually ended up at University of Maryland, College Park, even though it was right up the street, but I wasn't going to go there. And something happened and it made me go there. But
wait, what happened? What happened?
All right. So I'll get to that in a second because it is a bit of a crazy story. But just to go kind of finish up the question you asked about knowing what I want and ending up in Ecuador, drinking something crazy. Third year is my first. I get into the program at University of Maryland. My first week of classes, I start going to classes, and guess what? Friday morning, after like 4 or 5 days of classes, my eyes open, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I hate this too. This sucks. I don't want to do this." And that was when I genuinely thought, I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna end up in your parents' basement as a loser. Like, you don't like anything." So luckily, I'm a very introspective, reflecting type of person, so I was able to figure out pretty quickly what was going on, why I wasn't enjoying anything, and fix it. And obviously I didn't end up I actually did end up in my parents' basement. That's a funny side story, but that was because I was doing so well and traveling so much that I didn't have time to even buy a house. So I used to just go stay with them. But here's a funny side story, how I ended up. This is one of my first spiritual experiences, crazy, where I felt the universe spoke to me, nuts moments. If someone doesn't believe in, a higher force, maybe this will help. I got into a program at University of Maryland, but I had to make my choice. I was still scared, even though my parents approved me to get out of this medical program. The medical program I was in, they were fighting for me. They were like, "You're stupid. You're crazy. What are you doing? This is ridiculous. You got to stay here. Why would you switch?" They were really putting the fear in me. And so I got into these programs. I got into University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. I got into University of Maryland, and it was the time to make the decision. You had to decide. And I'm not like, am I going to leave the program? Am I going to make this shift or not? My dad's kind of asking me like, "Son, you've got to send this letter back in. It's New Year. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do." First time in my life, I get down on my hands and knees and I pray. So New Year's is coming, and I just got down that night and I was like, "You know what? If, God, if you are there, they say you help, like make this decision for me because I don't know what the heck to do. I could end up ruining my whole life." And I left it at that. And I said, this is what I said. I said, "Tomorrow at midnight, which will be the new year, you will give me a sign. And I'm waiting for the sign. And only with that sign will I make a decision. So now this is on you. Thank you very much. Good night." And actually,
now have you ever like done that before? Were you raised with any kind of religious upbringing? Do your parents?
My parents come from a Hindu background, but no, we were never that religious. I had never prayed. It was not a part of my day. And I don't know what the heck led me to do that night. So I did it. I fell asleep. Next morning, woke up. I forgot that I had even done that. And I was supposed to be at my friend's house for New Year's Eve party. He's literally right up the street from me. I shouldn't. It's actually sad that I drove. I should walk. But I drove to his house. Yay, New Year's happens. Everyone's celebrating. I'm just so bummed out, so scared, so nervous, so bogged down with life. 5 minutes into the New Year's, I'm like, "You know what, guys? Thank you very much. I'm going to go home." So I start to drive home. I'm winding the corner into my neighborhood street. Now, know this, I've lived in this neighborhood at that point for like 12 years. I know every nook and cranny of that neighborhood. I grew up in it. I've ran around every forest around it. I know everything. And I literally am turning into my street, and I have to very quickly steer my car away because there's a big object in the middle of the street. I pull up next to it, open my door. It's a massive turtle. And I got to tell you, it's about, if I remember, it's about 2 feet long.
Wow.
This is a huge turtle. It doesn't make any sense there. It just doesn't. We have turtles in that area. Don't get me wrong. They're tiny, man. They're like 4 or 5 inches. I played with them growing up my whole life. Not that big. You're huge. So I remember thinking, this is strange. And I wasn't drunk. For those who are like, years, I wasn't drinking at all. I hadn't had a single drink that night. Pull into my driveway. My house is maybe 100 yards, 70 to 100 yards away from that intersection. I pull into my garage, park my car, and I'm like, you know what? In my head, I think there's gonna be a lot of drunk drivers tonight. Maybe I should go move that guy. He's right in the middle of a busy, like an intersection. He's gonna get run over. So how long could it have taken for me to drive 70 to 100 yards, park my car, come back, walk out? Nowhere. Gone. Like, how fast does a turtle move? I looked all around because at this point I'm freaked out. I'm like, am I losing my mind? What the hell's going on? And I'm looking around and like, I do not see the turtle at all, and just couldn't have moved that fast, and it didn't take me that long. Anyways, I shrug it off, walk into the house, and there's a folder sitting on the table, a yellow folder with a note on it from my dad. And it says, time to make a decision, son. And so I reach into the folder, and I pull it out, and emerges in front of me the picture of a terrapin, because that is the mascot of University of Maryland College Park.
Oh.
So what was inside that yellow folder was just the acceptance letter from University of Maryland and University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And the first thing that just came out was the picture of the turtle. And I remember looking at it, and then I suddenly remembered I asked for a sign.
And so that was what made that's actually what put you over the edge. Then that's what made you make the decision.
I signed it right there. I signed the acceptance letter right there and went to bed.
What was the major that you were pursuing at the University of Maryland College Park? Was that the finance major? This was finance. Okay.
Yeah. Man, I can't balance a book if you put a gun to my head today. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's an incredible story. I've had similar experiences, and it's, you know, it's one of these things where when you're at a crossroads and you really just say, okay, I'm open to the signs that the universe gives me. Give me a door, give me a window. Just give me something, because, you know, wherever I'm going, it's not working out. I need something else. If you really listen to the signs of the universe, it's amazing what happens. So that's a very powerful story. And let me ask you, from that experience, did you find that you had more of a connection to a divine sort of mentality? Did that increase your faith on any level? Did you just become more sensitive to those types of things, or did you just say, thanks anyway, God, I got it handled from here? I mean, what happened after that?
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed to admit, I kind of went the route, thanks God, got it from here.
Yeah.
You know?
As many people do, I think.
Yeah, I didn't. My spiritual awakening, I mean, if you look at me today, I would like to say I am very tuned in. It actually came from my wife, when I met my wife, and I went a completely different route. So, you know, now I follow the Bible, I follow Christ, and pray a lot, and not nearly as much as I should, but I do look out for signs. I believe in the power of prayer. That's almost like a separate day, a separate episode, but it should have started then, for crying out loud, but it didn't.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very powerful story. And so what led you to eventually get to the path that you're on now with learn.com? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah. So I told you, right, I'm a very reflective person. So as soon as I went into this financial degree program a weekend, I'm like, what the heck is this? Sucks. And so I went into a reflective mode, closed the door, shut the lights off, sat in my bed and said, we're not leaving this room until we figure this out. I realized something. My problem wasn't with necessarily the topics of anything. It was with the idea of education to begin with. It was the idea of sit here and learn theory, do nothing. I don't resonate with that. I was like, I'm bored. And the reason I was really enjoying my financial planning job, quote unquote, was because I was out there every day doing. My mentor in that company was teaching me how to sell. I was a shy, quiet person. I couldn't stand up in front of 2 people, say my name, yet he had me up doing presentations in front of 30, 40 people. And so I was enjoying the execution side of this. And so I saw that, it registered, and I decided, you know what, I don't have much money, but let's go try to start a business. If I think entrepreneurship is what I want to do. So I really felt strong about what I had figured out. So what did I do? I did what I think a lot of us have done this at least once in our life. I went to, back then Google was just kind of becoming a big thing. So I went, Google, help me out, google.com. I typed in how to make money. And article auto-filled online. And I was like, sure, why not? And so I clicked that. And that moment began a crazy 18-month long, painful, yet such a blessing of a journey, because I went through all of the crazy stuff. And it's funny because of what you wanted to talk about with me. I went through everything. I saw all the stuff envelopes, survey responses. I didn't buy a lot of it, but I landed on a forum that was talking about the concept of selling information. And there was a lot of people on this forum that doesn't exist anymore now, but that said they sell PDF files through this company called ClickBank, and they're selling them for $47 to $100, and they're making 30, 40, 50 grand a month. And to me, because I was a college student paying thousands of dollars on textbooks every year, the innate idea of selling information made a ton of sense. It just made sense to me. It just clicked. And so I got really engrossed into it, and I was like, this is real. And then these were people I could actually talk to through the forum. They were real. You know, I believed them that they were making this kind of money, and I got sucked into it. But dude, 18 months I tried. I couldn't make a dang penny until I had my second angelic moment of my life, where something broke away from me, and I was able to, I seriously feel like God sent someone else to really help me and give me a nudge up. But I almost quit. 18 months of, every man has a breaking point. I worked hard, man. Hustle was not something I needed to be told to do. I had a full docket in college. I still had my financial position job, and I'd still work on my business 3 to 4 hours a day. I slept about 3 to 4 hours a day. Didn't go to a single college party, frat party, didn't go to any events, games, nothing. I was just hustling, working hard, but still struggling. Like, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, part of the challenge there is like sorting through all the misinformation. And if you're looking up a topic, how to make money online, there's so much, like, even back then, there was just so much crap on there, and you have to like kind of figure out what's good, what's not, because the truth was out there, but there was also a lot of like other stuff that was all, blocking the path, those kind of paths.
Right. A lot of scam.
You just slip in an X-Files moment there. The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. That's right. Yes. I grew up with the X-Files. One other thing I wanted to mention, though, is that I relate with that idea of like learning through experience, because, I went to college and in high school, I always was able to go to class and do really well and remember and be a good test taker. But I never really absorbed the information. So I mean, I could get A's and do super well, but like when it came like a year later, if you were to ask me questions about it, I wouldn't really remember all that much. But when I go out there and actually execute, kind of like what you're saying, I learn things on a whole different level, and I actually absorb and can retain information that it just doesn't work for me in the other way. So like I completely relate to that idea that like I have to be doing and active to actually be like taking information on a cellular level, put it that way.
So is this, so you had a revelation that, first of all, what led to that second revelation? Was this again, the same sort of thing where you put, like you said, I'm going to pay attention to the signs of the universe? Like, what happened in that particular instance?
No. So the second one was a little different. I think there's a lesson to be learned here for a lot of people who are trying to be successful entrepreneurs. Our egos get in our way. So 18 months, I struggled, and I tried everything, and what I want to tell everybody who's listening is that just because a certain system is working for somebody doesn't mean it'll work for you. And that's nothing's wrong with the system or the person who taught it to you. Maybe that's just not your skill set. So I was out there trying to do a bunch of things, and they just weren't working for me because it just wasn't, I guess it wasn't me. I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't working. So 18 months in, I get really frustrated. Now, here's the thing. It's getting close to the end of college. It's time to start making decisions about your future. Because I was so successful on the financial planning side, I had my degrees. Three companies, Charles Schwab, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley, all three made me offers to come to New York and join at an investment banker level. Now, in college, at a financial degree, that is a dream come true. Mostly a University of Maryland undergrad finance degree, you're not going to get an investment banker position. You just won't. But I did. And looks like the first year out of undergrad, my first year with bonuses, I could make 80 to 100 grand, which would be double of what anyone else would make. So I'm sitting on this amazing opportunity, and I don't want to take them. And I feel crazy. So I just don't know what to do. So I basically reached a point where I said, you know what, I might have to accept that this entrepreneurship thing isn't for me. I've been trying everything. So I went to that forum, and I remember making a post, and this is what I want everyone here to walk away with, is sometimes you got to reach out for help, man. And it is okay. I reach out for help more today than I ever have in my life. I don't care. I have zero ego. I'm all about the results. I'm all about growing and learning. So I went to this forum and I said, listen, everybody, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. You are all amazing. And here's what I've concluded. It's been 18 months. I haven't made a penny. Well, I've made a little bit of money, but nothing to justify the time. If I don't have a big breakthrough here in the next 24 hours or less, where I can actually see some major money, I'm going to quit. I won't be around anymore. I'm going to go get a job, do it the regular way, and go on with my life. Now, know this was a defeated post. This was I had no chance. What was going to happen in 24 hours? I've been trying for 18 months. I made the post, and I kind of call it my outcry for help, right? And within about an hour of making the post, I get a direct message on the forum, a private message. Remember, we didn't have Skype back then. We didn't have really Facebook Messenger and all these things. So I get a direct message on the forum by a person who I've never seen on the forum. And mind you, I used to spend 2 to 3 hours a day on the forum for almost a year and a half. I knew everybody. This person, when you click on their profile, they had zero post history. They had been a member for a long time, but they had zero post history, never posted even once. And this person tells me, literally, to just kind of the vague gist of the post, kid, been watching you for a long time, very impressed with your hustle, don't want to see you quit. Here's what I'll offer you. For the next 24 hours, I will sit here at my computer and I will personally help you through direct message. You can ask me any question you want. We'll get you to make some money. I don't want to see you quit. But there's only 2 conditions. Number 1, I'm not going to tell you who I am. You'll never know who I am. Number 2, you promise to do this for other people.
Wow.
And I sat there and I was like, this is definitely some idiot trolling me. Like someone wants to get, joy out of my misery. Like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And so the next thing I really want people to think through right now, and you're listening, is, man, sometimes I got goosebumps right now as I'm telling you guys this, but sometimes the smallest of decisions you make can literally change your life to the highest of degrees. I almost said no to that person that night because I was just scared. I just thought they're going to make fun of me. But luckily I thought, what the heck do I have to lose? If he gets a good laugh or she gets a good laugh out of this, I'm out of here anyways. It won't impact me. So thankfully I had typed out a no thank you message. I deleted it and I said, all right, what do we do? I'm in. And sure enough, the person sat with me that night. I remember it was like 2 or 3 in the morning. I actually had a test the next morning in a different class, didn't study for it. So this person was telling me what to do. And it led me to the system that I really still deploy till this day, which is crazy. And I made some posts. They told me what to do, told me to set it up this way, set it up that way, make this post, get some traffic, went to bed. 6 hours later, alarm blares. I wake up. Of course, I have to get to my class, but I run to my laptop, pop it open, almost hit my head on the table. I was in such a hurry, pull up ClickBank. And in that 6 hours of sleeping, I had made over $300 net to myself.
Wow. That's awesome.
That was more money than I had probably made the 18 months combined. And that was it. You know what? That was the last night of my life that I had ever made less than $300. I have never had a single night that I didn't make $300.
Did you ever find out who this guy was? I'm just curious.
Nope.
Or did he actually, he was true to his word, he remained a secret? Because I have a feeling this is probably it's probably some billionaire or something.
No clue who the person is. I tell this story as much as I possibly can in hopes that one day someone will tell me. And, really tell me, because everyone plays pranks and jokes on me. Oh, it was me. I'm like, no.
No, you know who I think it was? I think it was you in the future sending a message back to yourself in time.
Could be.
Heck yes.
That's what
I'll buy that.
So now from there, you went on to realize that you can make money with content. And is this how Learn kind of came about?
No, so Learn's, yes, obviously is part of the journey, but Learn came about because much far later in my life, when I started growing that night, I made $300, things clicked. I understood the idea of how funnels work, traffic works, how sales work, how pre-sales work, how I started really understanding copywriting, and I grew the company from that $300 to $10 million a year in 6 years. And so when I graduated college, I was flying high, man. I was speaking on the biggest stages. I told you I lived in my parents' basement because I was traveling 75% of the year. And just my business was booming and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was an entrepreneur, I guess, but definitely not a CEO. And then 2008 happens and nothing really happened to my business. But by 2009, everything fell apart. Our industry always takes about a year to have an impact. And this is my warning to all of you in our space, selling entrepreneurship training. I know what's going on right now has increased business for many, but please beware that the economic impact on our industry is always a little delayed. I've lived through this. I've seen it, nearly ended my life. And so I'm preparing now ahead of time. But by mid 2009, I wasn't ready for it, man. Revenues plummeted. My costs gone up. I was trying to build. So you ready for this? This is the first time I'm publicly revealing this on a podcast. It's kind of interesting. Why do I call the company Learn, L-U-R-N? I had an idea on an elliptical machine to build an education open marketplace where people could publish education and content and courses on any topic they wanted. Believe it or not, I've actually tracked this back. If you look at Udemy's story, the founders of Udemy began working on their platform within a 60-day window of when I had begun working on mine.
Wow.
Huh.
On different parts of the world, obviously not knowing each other at all, but they were developers. I don't know. I can't code my way out of a paper bag.
But this is not an uncommon phenomenon where world records will suddenly be broken in a row at the same time. There'll be
two of the same movie come out the same year, like every year.
No, but just like ideas, certain technologies will suddenly be developed, and it's almost like I feel that there's this untapped sort of component in human consciousness where there is like a pool of consciousness that we collectively, unconsciously tap into and pull ideas out of every once in a while. And it's available to all of us, but only very few people are able to tune into that. And, I think that sometimes when you have mystical experiences, it's like a tuning fork. It brings you closer to the ability to pull that information out of the void, if you will. So you when you saw did Udemy launch, and if you're not familiar with it, it's a learning platform where people can monetize learning, like digital curriculums. Now, did that launch before you launched your website?
So here's the whole story. So basically, I was trying to build it. I built an entire office, an entire team in India. I had 100 employees. Every time I had a technical problem, I threw someone new at it. I had 50 developers between US and India. And we were building a heap of crap. It wasn't working. It was falling apart. It was breaking. I was losing money. By mid-2010, guys, I was $1.7 million in debt.
Oh, my God.
Had to mortgage their entire home to save my ass. It was so bad.
Did you owe money to Russians, or were you just
you know what? That's probably the only people in the world I didn't owe money to, and that was probably coming next. I owed
because
Visa,
if you could have been president if you actually owed money to the Russians.
Oh man, I owed money to Visa, MasterCard, American Express. My best friend gave me his life savings of $170,000. My parents spent their whole life paying off their house, mortgaged it again for me. I was a mess. I was ending up in the hospital with internal bleeding every 3 to 4 months.
Because you had Crohn's disease during all of this, and a buddy of mine had Crohn's disease, and that guy, like, his teeth fell out. He was like, he got cancer really easily. I mean, it's no joke. It's no joke.
Listen, I started drinking. I'm not shy about this. I was borderline alcoholic. If I hadn't gotten my act together, I was a couple months away from being a raging alcoholic, which is not something you should do when you have ulcers in your stomach. I mean, that's why I was having so many problems, so many hospitalizations. And I fell massively into debt. And there is a third angelic moment in my life that saved my life, that got me to have that big turnaround moment. And I almost died, though. It was like a near-death experience. But another person in my life who saved me, who I don't know who they are, and I'll never be able to thank them. I've tried. But just getting to cutting to it, I had to shut down everything. I had to fire all my employees. Now, here's the best thing that came out of my India operation that I had to shut down fully. I left India I met my wife. She was the head of my HR in my India company. Completely not allowed for us to be dating, but that's cool. I met her there. We eventually got married, and she is the rock upon which I stand. She's amazing. So, but she was the one who brought it to me one day as I was basically having to face reality that I was gonna have to throw away all my code for the platform that we had spent years building and put me in debt. She comes running into my office in India and says, "Have you seen this?" Opens a laptop, and there it was, Udemy. And I remember thinking, oh crap. Now I'll tell you this, I take great pride in the fact that Udemy is now worth close to $4 billion. So I take great pride in the fact that maybe I messed up the execution, but the idea with my brain is capable. And what happened after that is I completely fell apart. I had to let go of everybody. I had a moment, in travel, in transit, where I almost died, literally ended up in a hospital. And that was a big awakening for me. Came back, shut everything down, and I had to pay the debt back. I was not going to declare bankruptcy. My lawyers were like, declare bankruptcy. I'm like, who am I going to tell my parents? Sorry, I can't pay you back. Not happening. I got to figure this out. So I went back to the basics. I went back to very basics, get rid of this massive big dream I have and just go back to the basics that had made me my first so much money. And I was able to pay everybody back and be back on top in 16 months. I paid back 1.7 million in debt and built the company back up to 10 million a year in about 16 months. And that was when I asked myself, listen, man, I'm like 30 years old. What am I going to do? Or not even, I was like 27, 28. Like, what's my life going to be about? Like, what do I want to do? And that was when the real Learn was born, because I remember thinking to myself, I have a true passion for entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is one of the loneliest things you can do. You know, think about it. If you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, every day you go hang out with your own creed. Every day you're around your own type of people. It's entrepreneurs that never get to commune like that. And we are always on our own, and it's very lonely. So that was when I said, you know, Learn is going to be an education platform, but only for entrepreneurs. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And I don't want to just be a platform. I want to build a true community, virtual and physical. Most people don't realize I have a 26,000 square foot facility here in Maryland with lecture halls, literally video game room, nap room, video studios, audio studios, co-work space, offices. I have a playground for entrepreneurs that I want to build all over the world because it communes. It helps us all come together and be crazy together. So that was a true vision of Learn, which came out of a lot of pain, a lot of testing, a lot of debt, a lot of loss. But that, ever since I dialed that in, man, I wake up every morning just ready to freaking attack, and it's been amazing.
That's awesome. I want to hear a little bit about. So when you had this fall where you were making, what was it, $10 million of revenue a year at one point? How did you accumulate all that debt? Where were the leaks? I know 2008 hit, the economy crashed. And it took a year, you said, to a delay in the revenue. Was it because you had too many employees? Like, what were the leaks in the business that would put you into that level of debt that you had to climb your way out of?
Absolutely. Too many employees, too many highly paid employees, offices. I had 3 offices at one point. So I had a pretty big office in US. I had 2 offices in India. I owed a lot of money to affiliates. So I would do a big promotion, right? And I'd get my friends and partners to promote, but I was basically playing a Ponzi scheme because I had to pay bills that week. We'd run a promotion, they'd promote, and I knew I owed them money in 30 days, but I would use that money to pay the bills that week. And it just started expanding.
Oh my God. That's crazy. It's amazing that you got out of that. I mean, that's,
can I tell you? What really helped me get out of it was the fact that I was an honest person and I had great relationships. So I was able to call all of these people and say, look, this is what happened. I'm really sorry, but you've known me for many years. I will make good on this plus interest. Help me out. And I was just really blessed, man. Amazing people in my life. Can you imagine? My best friend at the time had $180,000 in his bank account, and he took 170 and gave it to me.
That's incredible.
Wow. That is incredible, because if Justin asked me for like $20, I might do it. I'd have to think
It'd be
about
a fight.
it.
It'd be a struggle, but you might do it.
Yeah, I might give him 15, but that's about it. Yeah. So, so what? When did Learn? Like, what was the final thing when you were like, okay, so I'm going to build this platform now? Did you build it from scratch? Like, is that code all yours, basically? Like, how did the building of it? Because we had a guest on here once who built a platform, and they said that if you make a successful platform, it's like building an ATM machine. But if you want to build a platform, the first thing you do is you open a window and start shoveling money out the window. I
believe he said you take $1 million cash and you set it on fire. That's how you start a SaaS company. That was Ryan Levesque actually that said that. So just for some context.
That's right. That's right. So what? Like you then had to build the platform, and is that from scratch?
So I would tell Ryan, he's 50% right. And the part he's right about is that you have to open the window and burn cash. I would say it's way more than $1 million. And so the answer is, yep, we built it from scratch. The other answer is, even though this was my 4th attempt at building it, I still was dumb, didn't understand technology building, didn't do it the right way. Now I got it. I got it dialed in now, finally. And we have an amazing team. We have an amazing leader that just literally started a week ago that's going to lead that team, because I just don't understand tech. But built it from scratch. Still building it. It's a hungry monster. It eats like crazy. It takes up all the net income. It's the stupidest thing for me to do. If I want to make money, I would live a much simpler life without it, but I'd be miserable and it wouldn't be fun. And I already have a ton of money and I want to do something that helps other people. So we probably have another 2 years of building into that platform before it actually gets to 80% of the vision I've had for it. But it's already serving so many people. It's already doing so many amazing things. But yeah, man, I mean, it's let's just say, life would be simpler without it, but life wouldn't be nearly as fun without it.
Well, I want to get into some of this. Some of the tactics too here, because you're known for your copywriting skill set, your copywriting abilities. You're teaching entrepreneurs about that. In the bio, you talk about like the psychology behind sales and marketing a bit. I'd like to spend a little bit of time and change gears a bit to kind of get into some of these tactics that you're teaching, and like who are some of the influences on where you're learning this stuff from. Like for myself, like I read a lot of like Robert Cialdini, things like that. So I'm wondering if that's like an influence on you as well. But can you talk just a little bit about that? And I just want to I want to include this in the interview today. And I know we're kind of getting towards the end. So I want to get in a little bit on these tactics of like copywriting and marketing that you've kind of accumulated over your time.
And also like just the in general, like if you have knowledge that you want to sell, like what's the best way to go about that as well?
Yeah, love to. All right. Let me address the knowledge sell question, because it's a simpler answer, and there's no better time right now than to address it right now. You're stuck at home. 90% of the world's stuck at home, and there's such an amazing time. Listen, guys, selling information actually today versus, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago is so freaking easy. The first thing you need to do, I'll just give you the first step before you try to sell anything, is build an audience. You need to pick one platform and you need to build an audience. Now, for me, the choice platform is email, because it's the only one out of all the options you have that you own. No one can take it away from you. But if you need some other options, I'll give you two other ones that are great: YouTube and Facebook groups. Nothing else. Don't build an Instagram audience. Don't build a Snapchat audience. Don't build a TikTok audience.
What about a podcast?
Podcasts are great. I love podcasts. The reason you don't hear me say podcasts is because podcasts are harder, in my opinion. For people like myself, a podcast was amazing. I could launch it. I think if I teach how to integrate the podcast strategy into YouTube, and now all of a sudden you can do both. But just a podcast through the audio format, it's tough, and a lot of people aren't going to be patient enough with the time it takes. But what I always say about podcasts is it's really hard to get off the ground, but holy moly, once you get it off, like it's amazing, right? Because it won't go away as long as you keep up with it. But pick one platform, start putting content on it on a regular basis, promoting it as much as you can, do it the hard way, get people following you. When you have an audience of even 100 people, I did an episode with Alexandra Cardone, which was so awesome. She started building this YouTube channel focused around just copywriting, and didn't monetize it at all. She just likes talking about copywriting, and it just started taking off. And she just recently launched a 8-week copywriting program where she just literally once a week will get on and teach people. It was like $3,000. And if I'm not mistaken, her launch, quote unquote, which was her letting her audience know, hey, I'm doing this, go ahead, $60,000. So what you need to understand is there's platforms out there now like Kajabi, Teachable, ClickFunnels that literally allow you to set up a members area and payment system. You do not need to be a brilliant copywriter. If you've spent a month or two building an audience up that loves and trusts you, you need to throw up some ugly pages. You don't have to even create the coursework or content beforehand. You can deliver it on time, like she's doing, or like I've done many times. So it's really easy. But the core thing to selling information that makes it easy is audience plus trust. And there's no better time to devote to this. And you don't have to do fancy videos. Listen, a webcam and PowerPoints, or a webcam and your desktop, that's more than enough. People don't care about the fanciness. They care about the value of the content. So you do that, and then you plug into one of these existing platforms and throw up a members area with a crappy sales page and announce something. I have another student. He did a few Reddit posts recently. He was just answering copywriting questions for people, and ended up building an email list of like 175 people. Nothing huge, man. This is nothing to write home about. And then all of a sudden does a little launch for a $300 product or something and ends up pulling out $6,000.
Wow.
It was like something stupid nuts. And I'm like, wow. So, but every one of these random fluke stories with content selling they're all accidentally building an audience first just because they love teaching or talking about the topic. And do that and monetize later.
That's pretty, it's great. It's just like, as Justin always says, version 1 is better than version none. So now, you are, Learn is growing, and can you talk a little bit about what Learn is? Because we didn't even talk about what the platform does.
Sure. And then Justin, I know you wanted to talk about copywriting, so I'll try to come back and maybe give a few minutes on that. But I know we're getting close on time. Learn is a facilitation house. We are out there getting the best of the best, getting their content, publishing it in the platform. We have Robert Kiyosaki, Les Brown, Bob Proctor. We've got some of the best training on email marketing, Facebook ads, copywriting, YouTube ads, social media, video production. I mean, you name it. We want to be a depository and a place where entrepreneurs can get training on anything they want. We have over 100 courses. It's absolutely free to join. If you go to LURN.com, it's a play on the word, LURN.com, absolutely free to join. We have tons of courses that are free, tons of courses that are $7, and tons of ones that are more. Over time, we're adding a lot of community features. You'll be able to connect with other entrepreneurs, work together, all free. We're adding on-demand training, Q&A sections, lots of cool things coming out soon. And it's got 380,000 members already right now. Our mission is to get to 10 million worldwide and to literally connect entrepreneurs all over the world.
That's amazing, man. So let me ask you this. I mean, especially, you're right. Right now is the best time to update your skills, really learn. And, if you're in marketing, even if the world turns into Mad Max, the bullet farm is still going to need a marketer, right? They're going to need to market the bullets, and the same thing with Gasoline Town. They're going to need someone to market that. So where do you think? And I still wanted to talk to you about what Justin brought up, like your methodology. But this kind of ties into that. What do you think the post-corona world is going to look like? How is that going to change marketing in your mind? And then I also want to get into your tactics and the nuts and bolts of what you do.
Sure. Okay. So I can tell you exactly what's going to happen for us online people post-corona. I'm pretty confident about this because I'm a data person, numbers person, very observant. I do watch politics. I do watch economics a lot. It's kind of what I geek out on and do for fun. Listen, we're going to see a huge impact. The economic impact of what happened and the shutdown, we've not felt yet. We will feel over the months to come, because even as we start slowly rolling things out, many, many businesses are going to shut down. Many, many people are not going to be able to get their jobs back. Many more may even lose their jobs. Yeah. At some point, the government won't be able to continue cutting checks. That's going to stop soon. They can do it for another month and a half. But the impact in consumer behavior and how they make decisions to spend their money is going to become very serious. Right now, people have free money. They're still spending it on things like courses and all of that, and they're still being impulsive. But slowly, they're going to get more concerned as the economic rollout and impact happens. I don't believe what we're seeing in the markets is true at all. It's fake confidence, because the federal government's actually pouring trillions of dollars into the market to inflate the market. They can't do that forever also. When businesses start to finally fall apart, when airlines and all these other companies start to finally go into production and realize, oh my God, no one's flying. No one's voluntarily going to restaurants. No one's really going to sporting events. That is when you're going to see the true impact on the markets and everything. So not to be doom and gloom, but how is that going to impact our industry? It's going to impact funnels completely. It's going to impact consumer. See, when I teach copywriting, I talk very simple. I don't think words matter. I'm not the person that says, here's your trigger words, here's your power words, here's your adjectives, and here's your verbs. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is addressing the psychology, addressing the mind, and addressing consumer behavior. Consumers are not going to be as impulsive anymore. They're going to have money. Don't get me wrong. People will still spend, especially depending on whatever industry you're in. Yes, sorry. If you cater to the travel industry, you're in for a bit of a pain for a while. But if you're in the industry like we are, like teaching entrepreneurs, there's tons of interest in our space. But we lean a lot, like in my company and many of, we lean a lot on webinars that lead to, $1,000 or $2,000 products. That's going to change. We're going to have to start recrafting our funnels so that we give people a front end that is much less expensive to facilitate the impulse purchase, build the relationship of value with them, and then put them on the webinar. They'll still buy. Revenues will still climb. We'll be okay, but you're going to have to change what you put in front of people first. This, by the way, this lesson, if everyone's listening, was what I learned. If I remember, I said how I got myself back out of debt in 16 months. That was the biggest fundamental change I made at late 2009, early 2010 that allowed me to save my business and save my life. It was flipping the fact. I've been through these waves. I've been around this industry for 17 years now. I've seen it all. And I'm telling you right now, within the next 6 months, we're going to have to change the way we approach consumers because their behavior will change.
So we'll be coming back to those kind of like tripwire style funnels then, where we got the low entry point, and then the maybe a mid tier offer, and then the high back end.
I said it here first. It's on record. I called it. It's going to happen.
Now, does this fall into? And before we go, I really want to get into the real question. Is you have a 5-step copywriting formula that you use to sell 250 million with an M dollars worth of products. What is that 5-step copywriting formula, and how is it going to be different? Are you going to augment it at all post-corona?
Nope. Can't augment it, can't change it. You can't change it because that's just the human mind isn't going to change, right? How humans make decisions will change, but the human mind will never change. It's been the same forever. So the 5-step formula will remain the same. I'll go through it real quick because it actually takes me about 20-25 minutes to go through it properly. But here's the 5 steps. I'm going to completely underwhelm the crap out of you right now. It's introduction, story, content, transition, pitch. Those are the 5 steps. I know it doesn't sound that like revolutionary, but it's how I use the 5 steps. Most people don't understand them right. I am purpose driven. I always say I'm a very purpose driven marketer. So I write my copy and I communicate. Listen, I'm an introvert. I'm a shy person. You ever put me in a party 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I would hide in the corner. Today, you put me in a party, within 5 minutes, I'll have a room full of people around me, center of attention, because human mind receives communication in a pattern and appreciates communication in a certain pattern, where whether you're selling them or simply trying to talk to them. And the purpose of the introduction is not to introduce yourself. No one cares about you. I'm sorry to say that. The purpose of the introduction is to tell the person what's in it for them. Story. Everyone starts to say, once upon a time I was born, I won all these awards. People think the purpose of story is credibility. It is not. The purpose of story is relatability. So I always teach this concept of play yourself down, play your solution up. You should not be on a pedestal. It's what you're selling that should be on a pedestal. You should be like them. Make them feel like they can relate to you. The third step, content. A lot of people think content is about teaching. 20 years ago, if you told a salesperson to put content in their pitch, they'd laugh at you. But today, the consumers have the ultimate control. Think about how different it is for us. We can make decisions by researching you in a heartbeat. We couldn't do that 20 years ago. So consumers won't even consume your pitch unless they feel like they're getting some form of value. And it's actually in the content section that people get sold. It's not the pitch. It's the content. And so what's the purpose of content? It's credibility. If you can't give me at least 1 or 2 aha moments in your sales pitch to me, what value could you bring to me if I give you money? The fourth step is transition. What's the purpose of that? Answer the biggest why in the room. Why are you charging me what you're charging me? Why are you charging me at all? Are you premium priced? Why are you premium priced? Get me set up to hear your price. Do it properly, because otherwise it's going to be a shock to me. You never want to shock someone in a price. And step number 5 is pitch, the least important step of them all, even though people think it's the most important. And people think the pitch is to get the sale. It's not. It's to confirm the sale. They're already sold if they're listening to your pitch. The only question left is how much. And so what you need to do is build immense value in your offer. You need to show the person that every dollar they give you, you'll give them $10 back. So my copywriting formula, my communication formula, my sales formula is all structured around making sure I follow that path and I don't mess it up. I go in that order, and I've done it now. I got my wife to marry me thanks to the repetition of that 5-step formula. And I've used it for everything. I use it for communicating with my employees to get them to do what I want them to do. I use it to communicate with my parents. You want to get your wife to agree to let you go on that golf trip this weekend? This is the formula that works, and it's not going to change. Tactically, how I apply it will change, but the actual formula will not.
I like the story elements that you're talking about, because I've experienced this in my own like copywriting journey, and just like in sales in general, the idea of playing yourself down and being like, I was like that too, but this solution is what pulled me out of this rut, and it can do the same for you. And I think those kind of words, like I was like that too, are really, really powerful for a lot of people, because it just kind of, like you said, it makes you relatable, but it also lets that person put themselves in your shoes and be like, okay, if he did it, then I can do it. I mean, this is something that's possible for anyone.
Yeah, and as the saying goes, it's always good to relate to somebody and walk a mile in their shoes, because then you're a mile away from them and you have their shoes.
Yeah.
So where can we like learn more about your process? Like these 5 steps. You wrote a book, a couple of books. Did you cover any of this in one of those books?
Yes, I did. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to invite everyone to listen to my podcast as well. Very tactical. We go over really specific marketing strategies, and my podcast episodes, you listen to it, you can actually go do whatever we teach. It's just The Fighting Entrepreneur. But if you want to see my book, go to and join my Facebook community for absolutely free. It's a whole community, 21,000 members that all talk about copywriting. Go to silentseller.com/FB for Facebook. So silentseller.com/FB. When you join the Facebook group, my book, the link to download my book will be the top pinned post there. It's called, my book is called The Silent Salesman: How I Sold Over $250 million worth of products using my 5-step copy formula. So
awesome. I'm going to get that.
There's an audiobook for free and a digital read. So if you want to listen to the audio versus, whatever, it's up to you.
Before you go, I have a couple questions here. One, I want to ask your opinion, like how you approach email subject lines for like what I mean, is it about attention? Like how do you approach like a subject line? I'd like to get into that, because I know you've written, like, one of your books is the Email Lifeline. You mentioned that your copywriting is primarily for an email based audience. So I'd like to just hear a little bit about how you approach subject lines, and can you speak to that a bit?
Sure. I approach subject lines using 2 key things, and it's the same 2 key things I use to write hooks, headlines, or anything. The first thing I look at is the narrative. It's a very important word. If you're learning conversion from me inside of Conversion Academy, we've got tons of students there. They're sick of it. Their ears bleed when they hear the word narrative, because I think copywriting and selling is all about narrative. Like right now, if you are selling in this industry and not addressing that we have a problem going on in the world, it's stupid. Like, people don't relate to you. There's a narrative. So even in your list, even in your promotions, there's a narrative. What did you just get done mailing? What did you mail yesterday? What did you promote? What did you talk about? What did they resonate with? And so the first thing is my subject line has to follow the narrative. It has to be a smooth wave of the communication of what I was talking about, what I've been talking about, and then it's kind of segueing through. So that helps me figure out what approach I'll take, what topic I'll talk about. Am I going to go blind subject line? Am I going to go salesy subject line? Or am I going to go like a story type, open loop subject line? The second is the most important, and this is the most important element to teach people how to come up with powerful headlines and powerful everything. What is your consumer right this minute thinking, but not speaking? That is going to always get attention. If you can call someone out on a fear, a thought, a belief that they have inside, but are almost too embarrassed to say out loud,
then you become president.
Yes, you are going to get their attention. You guys joke, but that's exactly how Donald Trump became president.
Well, and also a lot of stand-up comedians use that as their basis for telling jokes, because there has to be some truth to it to make it funny. Now, I also wanted to ask about the podcast here, because the name, The Fighting Entrepreneur. I mean, does this just go back to your story about how, like, you kind of fought your way and that, or what's that about, the title?
Yeah. So I have a little slogan I say at the end of everything I ever do, and I'll probably say it at the end of this interview as well. I always say, I've been saying this, by the way, for almost like 15 years. I always say, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. It's been my motto about life forever. Guys, I've faced every horrible thing you can possibly imagine. I've nearly bled to death on an airplane. I've blacked out and I had to woke up in a hospital. My parents had to be called in 2002. I was in the hospital for 3.5 months in the ICU, bleeding every day, getting 2 pints of blood to stay alive. And they had to do a surgery finally. And they told my parents, call everybody, because 50-50 chance this kid's going to wake up after the surgery. So let's say our goodbyes. I've been bankrupt. I've been backed on top. I've just lived it all. And the only thing that got me through it was the fighter mentality. I remember when I got out of the hospital, the nurse came to me, and I remember what she said to me. She said, I just want to tell you, she'd been a nurse forever. And she said, I want to tell you something. You should not be alive. You should be dead. And I'm like, that's nice. And she's like, no, I want you to hear me out. The doctors did not save you. The medicine did not save you and the surgery did not save you. You saved you. It was your attitude. I've never seen a patient like you who could smile while, I mean, I was at a point in the hospital where I couldn't even sit up. If I sat up, my heart would spike at 175 beats a minute. They'd think I'd go cardiac arrest. I had to lay flat. I lost the ability to walk after 3.5 months in the ICU. I had to go through because my legs became jello. And she's like, yet you played pranks on us. Yet you had fun with the nurses. She's like, that attitude is what's made you survive. And that's the fighter attitude. So that's why I call it the fighting entrepreneur. It's like, if you're an entrepreneur, if you don't have the fighter mentality, man, you're not going to make it. It's just necessary.
Well, I'll say real quick that I'm probably one of the few people that can kind of relate to that because I spent 2 months in the ICU and I, same thing. Like if I sat up, my heart would race. If I walked from the bed to the door, my heart was like having like a heart attack. And then by the time I got out of the ICU bed, same thing. I could barely walk. I couldn't open heavy doors. Like all my muscles were gone because part of that was in a medical coma. A whole nother story. But I get it because it's a huge struggle to come back from that. So and like you, I was told that the mortality rate of what I had was like 80%. So I was not supposed to survive. The doctors were shocked that the doctors and the nurses were shocked that I made it out of there. And it created that kind of fighter spirit in me too. And I'm just kind of just relating that it was a battle to get back from that. I mean, it was a struggle. And so I'm just saying it's really cool it's kind of funny how when we go through those struggles, sometimes we end up in like these entrepreneurial type of roles. But it's just, and I was also saying it's been a pleasure to have you on today. I'd love to hear your story. I'm definitely going to dive more into your content, and then Andros, I think wanted to ask you about some geeky stuff.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to do a lightning round and find out what everybody's geek favorite thing is of the week. So what are you most geeky about at this very particular moment? TV show, book, movie, video game, flower collecting, whatever it is.
Oh man, I don't know how to answer this because I'm geeking out about a lot of stuff. So professionally, I'm really geeking out right now on just the new way we're going to have to survive. I'm all about funnel testing, evergreen, data absorption. I'm a big data guy, so I'm taking in all pieces of data. I want to be able to help our industry. I want to get ahead of this. This is one where I have some unique background and knowledge. Not everyone will. So I want to be able to see what's going to work, what isn't. I'm also really geeking out and missing being an affiliate, believe it or not. So I'm getting ready to launch a new affiliate business in a new space because I just miss being an active email marketer. I mean, I market email for like Learn, but I just miss that. Drinking my own Kool-Aid, been teaching it so much. So there's that. On the personal side, really geek out on, I want to get my pilot's license. So I just got a home simulator kit because I'm stuck at home. I'm going to be setting it up this weekend. And I want to, when we get let out of this thing and can move around and have interaction with humans, I want to get my pilot's license.
I love that. Short question real quick, because you mentioned the evergreen funnels and everything. I just want to, what's your take on these evergreen webinars, like, the ever webinar model where they have like the fake comments and like kind of the fake timers, all that, versus like just putting a video out there onto the page for people to watch in an evergreen format. Which philosophy do you subscribe to in that regard? Just short answer.
The fake stuff works. I just can't sleep at night when I do it. So we actually had shut it all off. All of our stuff so far the last few months has been crushing, has been live. We are going back to evergreen, but we are going to go to what we call on demand. So it will be a marriage of on-demand videos with comments and stuff, but they won't be fake. And that's just more of a personal choice. I hold absolutely nothing against those who do it the other way. I get it. But personally for us, we have such a big brand and we're out there in such a big way. Doing anything that could be perceived as lying is just not going to work for us. Yeah,
I feel the same way. I just feel weird about it when I'm using the fake comments and like trying to insert them right here, and it's just funny. Thank you.
And what are you binge watching?
Good question. We had I'm not finding anything I can just fall in love with. But right now I'm watching. I'm not binging because it's not that interesting to me. Is Ozark? I get it. A lot of people are like, Ozark is amazing. It's okay. I mean, it's something to watch. You guys got a suggestion, let me know. But I haven't found anything. Like I've binge watched.
Have you seen The Leftovers on HBO?
I have not.
It's one of the best series ever made.
Well, there you go. Let me write that down. My wife and I have been really looking.
Since you're a business guy, I think you'd probably like. There's a show called Succession on HBO that I really enjoy. There's 2 seasons of it.
Watched it.
I like that. You like that show?
It. Yes, it was good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And then Better Call Saul, man. That's my top show right now, which is they're
really okay. Because I love Breaking Bad. I thought Better Call Saul wasn't as good the first few episodes I saw, but
yeah, I've heard a few people say that it gets a lot better. It's a really slow build, so it builds slower than Breaking Bad did. But when you're getting into like they're ending season 5 here on Monday. It's real good right now, so it's really getting into.
Oh, okay,
that's great. I could finally watch it. I always wait until the show is done, so I know that it's not going to suck after a while, and I know that I can just binge watch the whole thing. And not
you got one more year though, Andros, because there's going to be a season 6, so you got to wait one more year.
Well, by the time I watch it, it'll be like a shorter.
Isn't it crazy how spoiled we are in this society today?
It's man, it is.
We are such prima donnas about everything. It's like,
it's so true because we
so
like,
choice.
and that's going to be the thing that I think human beings as a species are going to have to get over is this on demand, I want it now society. I mean, Corona is going to mess up supply chains. It's going to recalibrate the planet. And, I think that people are going to have to lower their expectations a little bit, you know?
Well, Andros, I experienced this for myself for the first time where you had mentioned like kind of how like Khalil grew up. There's no commercials. So we were watching, I think I put on Hulu or something, and I have my son he's going to turn 2 next month. And I put on like a TV show, and it went to, it's a kid's show, and it went to commercial. And this is like the first time he'd ever experienced a commercial. He started screaming. He's talking about being spoiled. This is a kid that never had to deal with commercials. Like when we were growing up, we always had like constant, like 4-8 commercials in between every 10 minutes of our cartoons. But it's just funny because talk about being spoiled. Like you get even a smallest interruption creates like a huge tantrum, and like if someone that isn't used to it.
And just the way people are advertised, I'll leave you with this one last little anecdote, which is kind of funny. I'm putting Khalil to bed, my son, who's 5, and I'm trying to get him involved in music a little bit. And so I have a musician that I've been learning to play guitar and ukulele and keyboard. And I said, hey, do you want to use that app to learn how to play keyboard? And he said, well, can we use Easy Piano? And I go, Easy Piano? He goes, yes, it's the easiest way to learn how to play piano. And I was like, who told you that tagline? Because that was marketing. And he goes, well, that's what they said in the commercial. And I realized that this kid will only, because I let him play Angry Birds every once in a while when his work is done. But it's ad supported, and the ads that they've been playing are for this app called Easy Piano. That's the commercials that he sees. He didn't see any other commercials, but it worked because the marketer banked on the fact that kid would say that tagline to me, and I would download the app. And damn it, I did.
Sucker.
Yeah, good for you. Man, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. I mean, I wish we had more time because obviously there's a lot of information in your head that I would love to learn more about. But definitely check out Learn. That's LURN.com. Anik Singal, everybody, thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you guys for being for having me on. I want to thank all the listeners for giving us their time, and it's been an honor. And as I always say, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back.
Oh, right on. Man, great show. Anik Singal, everybody. That was really great. Justin, what do you got for me? Anything groovy?
Oh, I mean, that was, I really enjoyed the interview, and it's kind of cool to hear like how many times in his story, he had these like things that everybody else kind of wants. Like, he was like in the medical school that only 60 people could get into. And then he was into the finance school that like nobody could get into, but both times he wasn't what he wanted. And so he kind of asked for help from the universe, and the universe answered in a couple different ways. And so that's kind of, I think it's cool, and I've experienced some of that in my life. Not all the time, but I mean, part of the reason I'm still alive is because of things like that. So I have to, I think it's important to keep your kind of eyes and ears open for the signs and to be humble enough to ask for help when you need it too.
Yeah, and asking for help is really hard. I mean, some people feel that it's a sign of weakness, but truly it's a sign of strength when you can ask for help on any level.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big areas of developing as a human is when you get to that point where you can actually ask for help and not feel shame or embarrassed about it, because like you said, it really is. It's a sign of strength.
Yeah, and something tells me though that this guy's really smart, and that's something that I don't know if I have. So
Yeah, I mean, he did get into a 60-person medical school, so and he was studying for the SAT. What do you say, in 6th grade or something?
Yeah, man, I never even took the SAT. I think honestly, if you put a gun to my head and you were like, "You've got to pass the SAT," I'd be like, "Well, fuck, I guess we're in for a long night," you know.
And you'd probably score like a 1,500 too. Or actually, they changed the scores now though, so I don't even know what a good score is anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, but being intelligent definitely helps. But also, it sounds like he made a lot of mistakes, like we all do. But it's really just, again, as Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, once said. Someone asked him, like, how'd you get so good? And he goes, well, it's all luck, and the more I practice, the luckier I get. So.
I like that. And then also it makes me inspired to start a SaaS company. All these people telling me to burn, he's like, burn more than $1 million. So I want to just go get a barrel full of money and light it on fire and start my SaaS company already. This is exciting.
Yeah, man, I think that's the first thing we got to do. So if our 7 listeners are interested, you can send us each $1, and we'll
light it on fire.
we'll have $7 that we can light on fire, and that will be the start of our SaaS company. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Marketing Geeks. Thank you so much. Please share the show with 500 of your closest friends. Leave a comment, even if you think we suck. Especially
if you think we suck.
We got to read our mean tweets pretty soon, because I think we got a few of them now. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Marketing Geeks, and we are out.
Stay classy.
Marketing Geeks, come on, bring your friends. We'll learn marketing from distant lands. Andros Sturgeon and Justin Womack, the fun will never end. It's Marketing Geeks.
Marketing Geeks.